Hello, everybody. This is Ray Braselton for the Music Show.
And I'm Nick Rita, co-host
For the Music Show.
Same show.
No
right?
difference.
Right.
We're happy to be here today and to bring you the Go Cats, a rockabilly group that I think you'll have a feeling that you want to just dance to because they are very, very rhythmic. And rockabilly is kind of a beginning of the rock and roll and has been considered something.
As rock was first developing, they combined it with some hillbilly music, and it has some similarities and some differences.
Yeah. People like even Elvis Presley started a lot of that.
And then I guess most recently in the '80s, who was it? The Stray Cats. They kind of like epitomized some of that. But I think every group that does it has a little bit of a their own flavor, and these guys certainly add a little bit to the mix.
It's all originals, so they're songs that you probably never heard before, and they do have a CD. You might want to, after you listen to them, consider purchasing from them a CD or hiring them for your festival or party, because it's that kind of music, festive music, and so I think you'll really enjoy them today. We also have, of course, our regular segments. Our email is kind of interesting.
The mailbag question.
I mean, thank you. The mailbag question.
Right. Yeah.
And then
you can email a mailbag.
Yes, you can email a mailbag.
We would appreciate it if you would.
And then, of course, we have an interesting interview with the group and a showcase that involves some of the instruments
that they use. Right.
And we talk a little bit about the culture and clothing of that era, and the round table is.
I think they'll find it a pretty interesting program. Again, we have so many different types of music. I think you'll find this to be a little bit different from some of the others that we had.
So you stay tuned in there, and we'll hope you have a good evening. Enjoy the show.
Stay tuned.
We'll be with you.
Well, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. The name of the band is the Go Cats, and here's a song called The Long Black Caddy. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go. Susie got it on, but she don't fret. She's easy to see, but she's hard to get. She don't like Don, she don't like Eddie. Susie wants a man with a long black caddy. Giddy up, hang on tight, little Susie. 24/7, she's always ready to ride in the long black caddy. T-Bird's quick, Susie's in the size. Mercury is bigger, but you don't look twice. You don't like brown, you don't like red. It's long and it's black, Susie's all set. Giddy up, hang on tight, little Susie. 24/7, she's always ready to ride in the long black caddy. Step on the gas, slipping in the drive. Susie's scooching over, she got love in her eyes. Susie don't care if you're rich or poor. Also wanna bust a mama Brando. You could be a private eye like Boston Black, as long as she can ride in the long black caddy. Giddy up, hang on tight, little Susie. 24/7, she's always ready to ride in the long black caddy. Oh, let's ride. Step on the gas, slipping in the drive. Susie's scooching over, she got love in her eyes. Susie don't care if you're rich or poor. Those are on the bus and Rando. You could be a private eye like Boston Black, as long as she can ride in the long black caddy. Giddy up, hang on tight, little Susie. long black caddy. 24/7, she's always ready to ride, ride, ride the long black caddy.
Welcome everybody to the music show and our interview segment of the show. And today we had for you the Go Cats, and let them introduce themselves. Would you like to start?
Mike Graham on bass.
Emerson Mitchell, drums and vocals.
I'm Kit Nelson on guitar.
And I'm Alex Dishlenkovich on guitar.
So Alex and everybody from the Rochester area, and probably.
I'm from Ithaca, actually.
Oh, okay. So we got somebody from a distance away. Now, you guys play in this area mainly, or have you played out in other like Ithaca or anything like that?
We have actually played out nowhere.
We're going to be playing out in Ithaca.
We got gigs coming up, but we just finished a CD and we wanted to get that done first and then try to get gigs after that. And so now we're in the gig procurement phase.
Great. The CD, do you have a name for the CD now?
It's called Rockabilly Wild.
Sounds neat, like Go Cats. That's a pretty sharp name there. Kind of from the old times when the everybody was named after animals or whatever, you know, back in the old. Well, I have quite a few questions for you. Again, the Rockabilly group that you represent is something I believe back from probably the 1950s or before. Am I right about that?
Mid-50s is when it all got started, 1955, 56, 54 maybe. Elvis Presley, I guess Elvis Presley and his Scotty Moore and Bill Black invented rockabilly, and that's where it got started.
It's also very exciting. We were watching you guys play, of course, as we were taping you for the show, and we were just up there wanting to dance. Your girlfriend and I. Right. So it's an exciting type of beat, and of course that's how I guess it was. Could you say it's the birth of rock and roll? Could you say that?
Yeah. It's where it got wild. They took the country and the hillbilly and just jazzed it up and ran it.
And Elvis Presley might have been one of the first ones. Would you say, or to do that? One of the first.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Now, how long have you guys been together? Now.
That's a good one. It's been about a year, hasn't it, or not?
Didn't
Yeah,
you?
Pretty long time.
Well, I understood that you and Alex had been together a little longer.
Yes, we played. We've been playing together now almost 4 years. I
Years,
think.
yeah, in a blues band called the King Bees. We were a house band at a few different places.
That's a lot different music than blues. Or am I wrong? I don't know.
That is, well, the King Bees played blues. The King Bees played blues,
Right.
and rockabilly is very bluesy. It's very bluesy. It's just
But it's still quite different.
different beat.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Very good. So why don't we? I think I've covered most of everything we're going to cover on you guys until later. But I need to have some. How about some contact number, a website? Can you give me that by heart, or you have to look it up?
Yeah. You can go on MySpace. That'd be myspace.com/thegocats. GOCATS. All one word.
Great. You have email, or was that it? That was your website?
Well, the email is onegoodsong, and that's ONE, onegoodsong@yahoo.com.
Great. Guys, let's not stop here. We got some more music to do, and we'll get together with the showcase a little bit. We got a great showcase coming up with some interesting things that they have sitting up here. Okay, we'll see you in a little bit. Stay tuned.
All right, well, we're rolling right along. Here's a tune written by our drummer, Mr. Emerson Mitchell. This is called Night Train.
Nighttime is calling, Won't take long before she come round the bend. I spent a lifetime a stalling, out of luck and left without a friend. But now that whistle is blowing, and it's taking me away, and that conductor's voice is calling, all aboard and don't be late. It's been such a long time, how it felt I can't remember when. Seems like a lifetime, I don't have that time you want to spend. But now that whistle is blowing, and it's taking me away, and that conductor's voice is calling, all aboard and don't be late. That train should have told you, that train didn't want to, that train take me out of here. I don't love you and I don't want you, things you do come back to haunt you. That train take me out of here. That train should have told you, that train didn't want to, that train take me out of here. I don't love you and I don't want you, things you do come back to haunt you. That train take me out of here. Go, that you didn't need me anyway. But now I'm set to hit the road. You just cry and beg for me to stay. That train should have told you, that train didn't want to, that train take me out of here. I don't love you and I don't want you, things you do come back to haunt you. That train take me out of here. That train should have told you, that train didn't want to, that train take me out of here. I don't love you and I don't want you, things you do come back to haunt you. That train take me out of here. I said, that train take me out of here. I said, that train take me out of here.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Uncle Nick's Corner. I'm Nick Rita, commonly known as Uncle Nick. Today I'm going to cover another chord solo. I've done a few of these in the past, and keep in mind I'm going to go over them kind of scattingly, or I'm not going to go into great detail. If you have further questions on any of these, you can get in touch with us, and I would help you taking you a little more in depth. I have most of them I have on tablature, where you can play them and see them. It's in musical notation and tablature. But let's get started. This particular one is "Send in the Clowns." It's a nice pop type song. Not a whole lot of odd chords or odd sounding chords. I originally started this out, I had the piece of music that I went from was in the key of E flat, which worked out pretty good. Some of the chords were a little bit easier than the ones that we'll be looking at now, but it worked a lot better putting it in the key of E. Now remember before when we did Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and I said I put that in the key of A because the key of A was better to use with the open strings. Same thing exists here. We're going to do it in the key of E because we make a lot of use of that open E. But let's get started. The first chord is actually an E sus, E sustain, and it's just arpeggiated with the, and then resolving to it just an E major. Now that E sus chord is a pretty interesting chord. Sometimes it's misnamed, but technically what an E sus is, or any sus chord, sustain, suspended, is instead of a 1-3-5, we have a 1-4-5 combined to make the chord. And so that 4, as it is here, resolves to the 3. And if you're familiar with the song, you hear that. From there, we're going to another form of an E major 7. An E major 7 up here on the 7th fret is the one of the common forms that we use in those block forms. But in this case, I'm going to, instead of playing this high G sharp, I'm going to play an F sharp with a low E to give the melody note. And it's, and then getting the E there. So it built right around that chord. It's right in that same form. And then the melody note is here, and we're going up to this B melody note, but I'm going to use an E6/9, which is another form of a major chord. You know, Joe Pass has a chord book, and someday I'm going to go over that that chord book or parts of it, because we can take chords that are normally something else, but put a different bass below them and make them into another chord. For instance, this chord here is actually a G minor 7, but when I put a E below it, it sounds like an E major 7. So that's basically what we have here. So it was B, and then I'm going to go into this form, and this is an easy form. It's like the F in the first position, but we're using the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings, and it becomes an A there, and it's doing this little thing underneath, da, da, da. I love that. And then arpeggiating in a kind of an inside-out way. That chord there is actually a B chord, but we're putting it with an E in the root, and then back to that A, and then back to the beginning. Now the melody turns around there into an E. Now we're going to go into a G sharp minor 7. And the melody is, and then into that G sharp minor 7. And then again. And then we're going to go to a D, which was actually the same chord we had here. It's a D sharp minor. And then back to that G sharp minor 7, going up to a G sharp minor 9. And there's a G sharp. Here we're using it as a G sharp minor. That's that same chord I showed you before, that if I put an E underneath it, it became an E major. But here we're using it as a G sharp minor. And we're playing, and then we're going to this chord here, which is a C sharp minor. Okay, and then we have a G sharp minor. Then an E. There's that E that we started out with, and the melody continues up. Then we're going to go to an F sharp 7. With the F sharp 9, my pinky's getting that G sharp there. Then an A major 7, which is a funny chord to put in here, but listen to it. And then I'm going to go to a G sharp minor again. So that was, and then the G sharp major. And then this chord here, which is a, I'll just spell it out to you. It's a E on the 2nd string, C on the 3rd string, F sharp on the 4th string. That actually makes us an F sharp half diminished. And then I'm going to that B with the E in the root up to that A minor or A major, back to that B. And then I'm ready to start again. the E major, and then the A. And then at the end we can go with that A, bum, 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 getting a low E, and then up to here. And then the final two chords, we go to an A, add 9. What I have there, I have the B on the first string, E on the second string. I'm skipping the third, and I'm going down to the A on the fourth string, and then ending with a, of course, that E major 7 we can put here, or here, or here, or here. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoy some of these. Again, if you want these more in depth, I have a lot of information on chord solos. Actually, right now, I probably have about 6 or 7 of them. If you're interested in, little by little, I'll probably do pieces of each one of them here on Uncle Nick's Corner. But it would behoove you, if you would like to look at them more in depth, to get in touch with me, and I'll get you a copy of them. Until next time, we'll be seeing you, and keep picking. Thank you.
This next song we have is called Cryin' Won't Help You Now.
You're acting funny, wearing your disguise. You're up to something, I see it in your eyes. Surprise, surprise, I don't love you anyhow. Well, you cry, 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 crying won't help you now. Long black limo with man inside. Said it's Uncle Jack, gonna take you for a ride. You lie, 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 running all over town. Well, you cry, 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 crying won't help you now. Promise me this and you promise me that. You wear your pretty perfume, but I smell me a rat. Bye, bye. You dry your eyes, you pack your bag, going for a ride in a taxi cab. Bye, 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 I guess I'll see you around. Well, you cry, 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 crying won't help you now. No, it won't. Promise me this and you promise me that. You wear your pretty perfume, but I smell me a rat. Bye, bye. That sexy little girl thing, don't fool me. My love for you, baby, is history. From now on, just another face in the crowd. Well, you cry, 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 crying won't help you now. Well, you cry, 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 crying won't help you now.
Once again, welcome back to our showcase segment of the music show. And after listening to a couple of great songs here on the show with Go Cats. We have some interesting instruments. I would just say particularly interesting would be the drum set, because with what I've seen, I haven't seen too many drummers stand up and play. And is that kind of normal for rockabilly, for people, for them to stand up, or is that more your thing?
Well, I think if you're looking at traditional rockabilly, I wouldn't be here at all. Mike would be covering the percussion on the bass. But no, I don't think they did stand up a lot. They sat down most of the time. I think, of course, the person that made it famous is Slim Jim Phantom from the Stray Cats. He began to stand up, and then I think some rockabilly drummers through the 80s stood up, and I sort of stood up along with everybody else.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. One of the interesting things about it is that I noticed was the pedal, the frame back that's hooked onto the hi-hat there, and that enables you to stand facing everybody, playing the drums, and get your cymbals going. What's the reason actually for that reason? Or?
Well, I used to play with the hi-hat on this side, but it caused a lot of balancing on my heels all the time. So to fix that, I ran a board out and I operate my hi-hat with my back heel. So.
And of course, the whole drum set is smaller than most drum sets. Is that something that rockabilly bands of the past 20 years would have as a smaller drum set?
Well, I think that is hearkening back, I think, to the more original rockabilly drummers when they first started it. You hear a snare and you hear cymbal, and you don't really hear any toms in most of the early recordings. It's just keeping the beat in the background. So that's what we're doing here.
So that's kind of interesting. And then moving along to our bass player, I think the most interesting thing to me with the bass that you play for rockabilly band is the way you tend to almost slap the strings. And I was talking to somebody telling them I was going to have a rockabilly band on the show, and that was one of the first things they said, oh yeah, we know those bass players, they slap the strings. So that is also common in the rockabilly band?
Yeah, that made up for in the earlier bands if they didn't have a drummer, and I think it was more just youthful enthusiasm, but
but it worked with the whole
the
whole craziness of the rockabilly band. You don't really pop though. Do you pull the strings at all? A little bit. You pull.
Yeah, it pulls and slaps.
Yeah, but could you move it out just a little bit and kind of show it there? That's good, and just kind of show us how that's done. This is interesting.
I'm getting some of it from from pulling it, and then the string is slapping the fingerboard. Plus, there's me doing.
That's the one that they use most in the rockabilly bands. Is you'll always find a stand-up bass.
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part.
There are a lot of country and people that had all that stuff.
Sure.
Electric guitars and things like that were rather expensive.
Well, I would imagine something like that is pretty expensive too. It can be, right? Very good. And then, of course, we appreciate that, Mike and Emerson. Sure. And then, of course, you probably have all seen Kid. He's been doing a lot of the singing on the show, and also he's doing a lot of the lead playing too, right? Or well, actually, Alex does a lot of that lead playing,
Alex,
but yeah, right.
He's got all the licks.
Yeah, and
I got
right.
one lick. He's got all
You got to talk to the mic. Say it again.
No, I got one lick, and he's got all the rest.
Okay, good. But you do a lot of rhythm, and this guitar, I guess, again, acoustic or semi-acoustic guitar, and what was it, a semi-acoustic that they used a lot in the old days, or was it more just acoustic?
Well, both, I would say. A lot of times you'd see the really thick hollow body guitars. This one's thinner, and it's called a semi-hollow.
Right.
But a lot of times you see the great big old fat guitars in early rockabilly bands, and even in modern day ones.
Would the rockabilly bands at that time, would a lot of them not be even electric? They'd be all acoustic.
No, there was always an electric lead player as far as I knew.
Yeah, that would get it into that rock, the raw.
That's
rock.
what made it rock of the rockabilly.
So it's not like bluegrass, nothing like that. Okay. And then of course we noticed, or I noticed, a interesting tremolo bar. It's nothing like the ones that they have today. Not maybe I would want to say not as sophisticated, but maybe I should be slapping my mouth for saying that. I don't. Bixby is a well-known brand of tremolo. There you go, bar from. I think we came out with the early '50s or something like that.
Well, I'm no expert on the origin of the Bixby, but I believe it was in the 50s. Maybe Chet Atkins had something to do with it, but I think that's where it got started. And you know, then all sorts of other designs of twanger bars, but you know, that would depress the strings and change the pitch of the strings with a lever. Can that mic try that? And lots of other electric guitars now have different. They're not Bixby, but they're a different design and you know, different ways of doing it.
Well, they actually, you can pull the ones today. You can pull out.
Yes.
And that does what? That lowers the pitch when you pull it.
Raise the pitch.
Or would raise the pitch. Okay. Okay. Good. Well, it's interesting to find out a little bit about some of the instruments that they use in rockabilly music. Is there any other instruments that are occasionally used that maybe you guys didn't have in this group?
Piano and saxophone.
Well, that's interesting little tidbits to learn about the rockabilly groups, and I didn't know if you had anything else to add to our education with rockabilly. But I guess the best thing you can do, everybody, is just listen to them, and that gives you the best education. They are an exciting group, and you just stay tuned because we're going to have some more. Thank you for joining us.
All right, next up, here's a song called Canned Heat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Rolling in the gutter, sleeping on the street. Spent my $5 on that canned heat. You know she squeezes some of that stuff. The eye roll back, she's gone white as a sheet. Drinking canned heat. She's drinking canned heat. My baby, she don't lie. My baby, she don't cheat. She can't even move. She's on canned heat. She's got that squeeze. You know she squeezes some of that stuff. I believe she is sickin' way down deep. She's drinking canned heat. She's drinking canned heat. Making love to my baby fall asleep. Underneath that pillow, baby, can't heat. She's drinking, she's squeezing fun. Her pretty eyes roll back, she's gone white as a sheet. She's drinking canned heat. She's drinking canned heat.
Hello and welcome to the roundtable of the music show. I'm Ray Braselton, your host.
And I'm Nick Rita, co-host.
Well, today we've had our group called the Go Cats, and the Go Cats are a rockabilly group. I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Kit, you want to start?
I'm Kit Nelson, play guitar.
Mike Graham on bass.
Emerson Mitchell, drums.
And we are missing Alec. He had an emergency or something.
Alex Deslankovic
Yeah.
plays guitar.
Right.
Alex plays lead mostly. right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you do rhythm and vocals.
And then Emerson does vocal and drums.
Right.
And you play the slap bass. You slap that bass around. Well, we want to talk about what you did today. It was quite interesting. You had the ladies all dancing, the ones your fans here in the studio, my wife and yours. But we want to start with our mailbag question. It comes from Jerry. And the question is, what are the different types of strings that can be used for the guitar? So, I
That's
assume.
an opened up question, right?
Well, I assume he's talking about.
Different types of strings for any individual guitar. Obviously, if you have a classical guitar, you use nylon strings.
Right,
and
right. I think
steel
he's talking
string
more.
guitar, right.
Yeah, I think he's talking more like the different types of
Different
steel
kinds of
strings,
steel,
right?
strings, electrics, and so there's the obviously an electric string. You would have the
That'd be nickel.
steel or nickel
Yeah.
with iron content to it.
Right.
So you'd have the pickup would be able to
Right.
pick that up because it's an electromagnetic, so you have to have the iron content in order for that. So if you put like a nylon string on
Not gonna work.
it's not going to work at all. Right? And then for an acoustic guitar, you have the brass and the bronze. So
You have
there's
the,
phosphor bronze.
There's a 80-20.
80-20,
Is that the
right.
regular ratio for
Right,
bronze?
for brass.
For brass.
And then the bronze are typically called phosphor bronze. And of course, you have the coated type, like the elixirs and some of those that have codes on them. Those are supposed to last longer. And those are all, actually strings are a personal preference, so
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
should really try different strings on it.
You also have, it's interesting, you have or they used to use them, I don't know if that many people use them anymore, but it'd be the flat wound.
Flat wound, yeah.
Yeah, and those
I don't
are-
know, in rockabilly, do they use flat wounds very much on, some of the old jazzers do?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Mm.
I've used flat wounds before, but long ago. I never really liked them very much.
Right,
I
yeah.
haven't tried them in a long time.
Right. The struggle with the flat wounds are that they don't have the roundness, the tone.
Right.
Of course, on some instruments, that's in some types of music, you kind of want that.
Yeah.
What they tried to do is they used to have ground round, so they'd have a round wound string, and then they grind the outsides flat,
I
and
remember
then
that.
half rounds they used to call them too. As the string noise is what they were concerned with.
about.
Right.
Right.
And of course, on electrics too, most of the time you have a plain G string. The third string would be plain. On yours, do you know what the third
It's
string is?
unwound, you mean?
Yeah, plain. Right,
Yeah.
unwound. Now,
Unwound.
I always use a wound because I like the heftiness. In fact,
On electric, use a wound?
Yes.
The third
no,
string.
no.
Yeah, you can't.
You have to you have to readjust the intonation, but I like the way it sounds. I like a heftier string. In fact, when I have an electric that I use, 11 to 42, and it has a
Yeah, that's
22
pretty
wound.
heavy.
Yeah. Just because it's real close action, and I don't bend a whole lot, so that's.
Do you do a lot of bending in the rockabilly?
You know what? Not as much.
Mhm.
Not as much
I
as
think
in regular rock and roll.
But you do use a tremolo bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Occasion, yeah. Well, especially I know that Alec would use a tremolo bar quite a bit. I heard
Mhm.
so I'm using that a lot. But yeah, I guess you know.
You both had Bigsby help pieces or
Yeah.
Bigsby licensed, whatever,
Right.
which is an interesting.
Jerry, I hope you got your question answered, and it's you can find all types of strings. Most any music store you go to, they'll have the different types. Diodario, Martin are more of the bronze, are well known for,
Right.
and Diodario's
But I think
well
in-
known for phosphor bronze, I think.
Well,
Well-
yeah, I like Diodario is my favorite, but the electric strings, then you have Fender,
Yeah.
basically Ernie
And
Ball.
Ernie Ball and Diodario.
Diodario has
they
electrics
do
too,
it.
yeah.
So hope that answers your question, and I guess if
Anybody
you're-
else who-
have
yeah.
any other questions, you can, of course, email us. It's right there on the screen, and you can get a hold of us and contact us, and we'll try to answer any of your questions. Or
Yeah.
Nick, you're the one that answers a lot of questions. Have
Yeah.
you
I'm
emailed
running
them
out of-
back or
yeah, right.
or something?
Yeah.
So back to our group here. A lot of fun. It was enjoyable, and I think you guys enjoy doing it. When I see you up there, it's like anytime you play out, you get lively, and the music comes from an era that I actually was very young when it started, and in fact, it wasn't really till '57 that I think I got much into rock and roll, actually, but I would say it probably started around, well, the rockabilly stuff probably started late 40s, 49, 50. Am I wrong? Tell me. Do you know? Anybody?
I don't know for sure.
I think it developed around the time that Elvis Presley was starting to.
Or a little before,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, but that, I think that phrase started to come out, that's when I first started hearing it. Do you ever first remember hearing Elvis Presley?
Oh, yeah.
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 You have certain pivotal points in music, and I think he was one of them.
Oh,
That
Jerry
changed.
Lee Lewis was the one for me. When
Mm-hmm.
the first time I heard, I guess it was Whole Lotta Shakin'.
Mhm.
First time I heard that, I
Right.
was astounded,
Right.
absolutely astounded. I couldn't believe that somebody would be doing that.
It's amazing he still comes to Rochester even today. Just this past year, I think he was in Rochester doing that, but he's got to be in his 60s. But easy. He's older.
He's older than that.
Yeah.
Right, we're almost in our 60s.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't tell anybody.
What do you mean you're almost? Anyhow, I guess another influence in your life was the Beatlemania. That's a few years
Oh,
later, and that you actually got involved with that a little bit. Can you
I got involved a lot.
tell us some of the stuff you did?
Well, we got together and formed this band called the Quirks, and started playing Beatles songs. You know, when the Beatles first came out, every time they came out with a new song or a new album, we would get down in the basement and try to learn these songs, you know, and slave over these songs until we had them, you know, as much like the record as we possibly could.
We did the same thing with brooms.
Yeah.
Actually, that was the inspiration for a lot of us to start guitar. I was about 14 at the time. I could
It was for me.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Beatles?
yeah, the Beatles, right.
Was really into the surf stuff because I'm from California, so I was into the Beach Boys real heavy, and a lot of my friends were like, didn't like them because they were trying to take over the surf stuff, and I did. I kind of followed them, and I can remember the first time I heard a Beatle song, and I very honestly,
Me too.
I couldn't. I don't know if it's just me, but I could not understand. It was so different. I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. It took about 3 times, and about that 3rd time, for the rest of my life, I was pretty much hooked on them. And then they got better and better as the years went by.
Were you guys impressed by the Beatles?
They were too young.
Well,
Too
that's
young?
actually my first musical memory was the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. I remember
Oh, yeah.
my sister
Oh,
was
yeah.
an early teenager then, and she told me this is going to be great. And
Yeah,
I was
right.
about 3 or 4, and I remember sitting at the kitchen table watching.
Yeah, the thing is, sociologically, they came along at a time that was just, there's so many questions. Kennedy was assassinated, and he was the young, vibrant leader that the teenagers were all impressed with, and they felt betrayed, and along came the Beatles around that same time, and so it was a whole cultural thing.
And Kennedy's hairdo wasn't that too much off from the Beatles, if you recall. It was kind of that over the forehead.
And that was, I think, it was probably for modern music one of the most pivotal, even more so than Elvis Presley and Jerry Lee Lewis and those guys. I think the
Could be.
British invasion was really, very.
getting back to rockabilly, there was of course, a dress code of some sort, I don't know if it was a dress code, but what I was going to ask you, what kind of things was what you're wearing now part of some of the kind of styles that they wore back then?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
You
I
guys
think
are
it was
more.
just regular, you know, kind of jazzier, like flashy, but it was still suits and ties. I mean, it was,
Pretty much.
If you're an entertainer, that's your
Right.
uniform. It's not, you know, shorts and flip flops.
But,
Right.
but
T-shirts. And,
Yeah.
the shoes always stood out, though. Now that was something that was flashy and different than
That
the
was
suit.
almost a pun, Ray. The shoes stood out.
Well, let's talk about shoes standing out. Let's get a shot of yours. What are those called? Those are.
these are two-tone wingtips. Stacy Adams. Got
Was
them
that-
online.
Was that kind of a style prevalent during those years, or?
I don't know. Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah.
They were flashy. It was cat clothes. It was
Cat clothes, right.
You were bending the rules a little with that. So
Well, and the white socks, I get in big trouble with my girlfriend when I wear white socks, but that's what we wore when I was in junior high.
Now I know this has nothing to do with it because he's got these leopard. I don't know if you can catch this either, but he's got these leopard.
Get a shot of those babies.
Get a shot of those at all. Oh. Look for shoes.
Yeah.
On the other, yeah, there you go.
Emerson shoes.
There you go.
There we go.
Well, I go home
We're
if I
almost
click
there.
my heels.
Well,
I don't
almost
know.
there.
Think good thoughts.
Whoa!
Now those are the same
Show the socks too.
leopard skin as look at those socks.
That kind of matches your drums, right?
It does, yeah. They match. That was unintentional, actually. But no, these are way more modern. They're in fact more sneakers than they are shoes. But standing up and playing standing up, they tend to feel a lot better on my feet than regular wingtips.
Well, now I know that also, Mike, you've played with some interesting groups, or at least one group you were telling me that. Let's see, what was the name of them? The Frantic Flat Tops, and that was around what?
we started in like '89, '90, and I played with them for 5 years.
This was a rockabilly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think we were kind of inspired by not so much the '80s resurgence in rockabilly, but more of the '50s original. Just the rawness of it and the beat and you know
You've pretty much
had
done
a lot
that.
of fun with it.
That most of that kind of music.
Yeah, for the most part. I did some Western swing. Played with a band, Cryin and High Gear Combo. That was kind of mid '90s. I did a rockabilly band, the Slip and Slacks.
Which band opened up for? What was it Fishbone or something?
Oh, that would be mine.
Yeah.
Oh.
that'd be you.
Okay, so what kind of groups were you in back then?
It was original groups from Rochester. We were based in Rochester. We played. If anybody from the area remembers the club Idols that was around during the mid to late '80s, they had a lot of regional to fairly international acts. Bob Mould from Bob Mould and Husker Du, and Henry Rollins and Fishbone, and we opened for all of those guys. And I was standing up playing then, but then I started playing with Mike in Slip and Slacks, and we did that for a while, and then I left. So
Yeah. And you guys ran into each other not too long ago, I guess, except for you and Alec played a lot together. But
Well, Alex and I played together. Have been playing together for almost 4 years now. But you guys have played together too.
yeah, we played together before in the '90s. Yeah.
But you did a lot of blues. That's a lot different.
With Alex and
Yeah,
I played
yeah.
in a blues band.
What is your favorite? Do you guys? I just kind of assume maybe rockabilly, but do you have a favorite type of music or band style? Or It better be rockabilly. On this show, it's rockabilly.
Well,
That's what
I
you're
like
doing at the
rockabilly,
time,
but
right?
I also like surf instrumentals.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
those a lot
Oh,
too.
Like the Ventures
Dale
and
yeah.
who else?
Oh God, there's a million of them.
How about Dwayne Eddy? With
Dwayne
the
Eddy,
Pigsby- with the-
yeah,
with
he wasn't a
Pigsby.
surf.
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about modern day bands
okay.
that still that are,
Right.
playing surf instrumentals.
Right.
Some of those players are so.
I
good.
opened for Dick Dale once.
Did ya?
Down at the Red Creek back in the 90s. It was,
Oh,
Frank,
yeah,
that was
wow.
fun.
I saw him
No,
at,
that was with Kurt, I think.
He was at the German House last
recently,
year, I
yeah.
guess it was. He was.
That was a
loud.
pretty good show.
Oh,
You've had a couple brushes with some of the old timers, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. I played with Joe Clay. He was kind of like he had a great album and just kind of fell through the cracks. And a lot of the artists came up and went down. And I met Robert Gordon, who was in the '70s. He did a thing.
yeah.
Must be quite a good feeling running into people like that.
Ronnie Dawson.
Yeah, played with Ronnie Dawson.
Jeez.
Wow.
A lot of good times.
No, I know. I know that I had to bring this up. I don't know why, but we've got a lawyer among us here too. How does that help you with your band? Does that keep copyright infringements in check? Or
No, it keeps my blood pressure down, man.
that's Emerson's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
it's
that's
interesting.
actually the reason why Mike and I stopped playing together. Is I went on to law school and couldn't play here anymore. So yeah, that's why. I
And
left.
you practice in the Rochester area, I take it.
Yeah.
Is your own private, or is it with a firm? Or?
No, it's just me. It's just me. Yeah.
I know that Alec couldn't be with us tonight, but he's also a guitar teacher. He teaches private guitar in his home. And I thought it was interesting that he does this and entertains for a living. And I wanted to mention that if anybody, you saw how he performed, so you know today, and so you know what a good guitarist, but he does blues and jazz is what he teaches. And I just wanted to make mention if you needed somebody in the Rochester area, his name is, of course, well, I'll let you say his name. You said it better than I. Alec's last name.
Disliankovic.
Very good. That's Alec, and he was our lead guitarist today.
I
And
noticed somebody's holding up a number 1.
boy,
what does that
means
mean?
we got to wrap it up, guys. But I did want to make sure I got that plug in any case. So Alec, 585 code 889-0064 if you want to get hold of him for lessons. And also we have a CD out, and of course we have a name for the CD. What is your CD name?
It's called Rockabilly Wild,
Yeah.
and it's all original songs, and it came out really good, and we're really proud of it. We think it's pretty good.
If it came out as nice as your stuff did here, and all you did here was today was originals, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
from the CD.
Yeah, very well written. I mean, you guys, the two of you are something else. I was very impressed with both of your songs. Oh. Nick, if you had anything else you want to add?
No, not really.
We want to definitely thank you guys for
Covered
being
it
on the
pretty
show.
much.
I don't know
Thank
if
you for
I've
having us.
Thanks.
done a good job of bringing you out to the public, but I really think that you guys are enjoyable to dance to, and you can't just stand there with these guys. You got to move. You got to dance when you guys play. And also, it brings back a lot of memories, nostalgia, and I think that if you guys would just feel free to give them a call. Their website and their email, everything's right there on the screen. You'll catch it and write it down so that you can at least get their CD, or maybe you might want to see them play out or hire them. So, guys, thank you. Kit, it was really
Thank
a
you.
joy and a pleasure.
It was a pleasure.
And Mike, thank you.
Thanks very much.
Very much for joining us, and thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, and we will. Well, just hang loose. We'll be back with more rockabilly someday. We'll see you the next show. Bye, everybody.
It's 9, 10, 11 o'clock. She called, says, hey, honey, coming over, let's rock. When my baby's getting crazy, well, I'm out on the street again. One more time. 3, 4, 5, sleeping in the car and a belly alive. And it's 6, 7, 8 a.m. Shaving in the rear view mirror again. It's 9, 10, 11 o'clock. She calls, says, hey honey, coming over, let's rock. Well, my baby's getting crazy, well, I'm out on the street again. I said, now when my baby's getting crazy, I'm out on the street again. I said, now when my baby's getting crazy, I'm out on the street again.